Hey guys, it's Jen. Happy Monday. Hope everyone had a really nice weekend. We're really excited for this week and rainbows and unicorns and jumping into all the fun activities that we have planned. The girls are particularly excited because both of them have just like a natural curiosity about rainbows and they just seem magical to kids. So we have lots of activities planned, storybooks, investigations. It'll be a fun week. Yeah, fun and colorful week. So I was given instructions this morning to wear red, the first color of the rainbow, and I will be likely scrounging my wardrobe for all six colors, as I don't think I do have all six colors. But anyways, we'll see. We'll see how I do. But speaking of six colors, I found it very interesting that there was such discrepancy in activities when some activities or references to the rainbow have seven colors and some have six. And it turns out it's indigo that is sort of the color in question. I remember when I was in school, Roy G. Biv was how we remembered the acronym to remember the colors, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. But Maya is adamant that there is no indigo. So naturally I had to look it up, and it turns out that in more modern day rainbows, such as the Gay Pride rainbow or also Pink Floyd album, Dark Side of the Moon, also just has six. So it turns out that indigo has sort of been banished from the rainbow and is no longer really considered part of the rainbow, which makes more sense to me because in teaching we talked about three primary colors of the rainbow and three secondary colors in the rainbow and how you make them. But anyways, turns out indigo is just sort of up for interpretation and just sort of a natural blend of blue and purple. So somehow it got added in there by Newton when he was studying light and how the eye sees the light and the light spectrum, which we're also going to investigate this week. So anyways, we will be sticking to six colors of the rainbow. So the first thing we're going to do this morning is for Bookflix. There's a really good book. I just wanted an introductory book on rainbows and just to tell a little bit more about how rainbows were are formed. So this morning you're going to find the book on Bookflix, and the two books that are listed this morning, as you may recall, Bookflix always lists, when you have a subject or a theme, it always lists one fiction and one nonfiction book. So the two books this morning, the nonfiction book is All the Colors of the Rainbow, and as the title implies, it's just talking about the colors of the rainbow, how a rainbow is formed, and it's an informative book about rainbows for kids. And the second book is called The Dot. Now, The Dot doesn't have like explicit correlation to a rainbow as I was looking at it. It's more that the main character, it's an excellent book, and I thoroughly enjoy this book, using it in primary for numerous reasons. As you'll read it, you'll find out. But it's not directly related to a rainbow, other than the artist in the story is painting and uses watercolor and discovers that when he mixes some of the primary colors together, he creates secondary colors. So it does make reference to that, which is primary, secondary colors, which we will explore later in the week. And I guess that's kind of a cool way that you can kind of talk to your kids about how, like, the other colors of the rainbow. But anyways, the story is a good story to help kids build self-esteem, especially if they don't consider themselves great artists. And it's definitely worth the read. So those are the two books for today from Bookflix on Scholastic Canada. All right, for our literacy activity today, I told you that we would be reusing in different ways some of our materials that we make at home again. So we're going to be doing this. We're going to be using these this morning, and as you may recall, I just took a popsicle stick or a tongue depressor and I put a letter on it. Same effect if you just take a popsicle stick, you don't have the letter, you can just put a letter on it. So it doesn't matter which letter you choose, you can do all 26 letters, but I'm just going to take out a few today and see where that goes. But what we're doing today, last time when the children were reading the room, they were looking around the room, they were taking a letter, and they were looking for text in the room that might have this letter, in this case C. So they might look like, me see behind me there's some books, there's a picture frame with some text, there's magazines in the room, the kids have some of their own books in the room. So that was to find just a letter anywhere. Now, that is part of phonological awareness, and phonological awareness is a term used in primary education especially when you consider teaching children how to read. So it's basically describing how language can be broke down into components. So you have sentences, and in sentences you have words, and in words you have letters, and then with letters it's just kind of specifically talking about different things. So for example, rhyming, blending, isolation, those are all examples of building phonetic awareness. So these are all skills that are used then for your child to learn to read or to continue to progress their reading skills. So this morning we're going to work with beginning sounds. And so that's kind of like isolating a letter. So for example, an E. So if you have a younger child, you might want to take the letter and immediately find something in the room that you know starts with an E. So for example, I wonder what starts with E. And just do a lot of thinking out loud. And you could talk about different words in the room that, oh, bowl, nope, that doesn't start with an E. That sounds like a B. Eggs. I wonder if we have eggs in our room, or an elephant, and just sort of like list off E words if it's a younger child, one of which might be the actual item you were looking for the child to bring to you. So it's just sort of talking, like just continuing to the conversation with your child with beginning sounds, and then we'll get into sort of blending sounds. There's ending sounds, then there's rhyming words. So there's so many different ways that you can engage in letter awareness or phonological awareness with your child. So they just can kind of see it from a different perspective, and they're inadvertently learning because they're learning more about letters as they're going. But you can also do lots of different fun activities. If your child is a little more advanced, you might not give them a clue, or maybe you ask them to find you multiple items. The trouble with this activity is then getting the children to put away the items that they've collected. So I know that all too well. That happens in this household too. It seems like we don't do any of the taking out, but we do all the putting away. So that is definitely something that we are working on. So, also I'm seeing this over here. Maya and Callie were really excited this morning to make slime. So I had promised that we would make slime this week, but we had a kit that we wanted to try out this morning that was from Walmart's. And it did say ages 12 plus, but with the help of Craig, they did this morning. I was here too, but mainly it was Craig sort of facilitating this with them. We made this. Now, I will tell you, do not disregard next time it tells you age 12 plus. 3 and a 5-year-old only equals 8. That's still not enough. It did not go well. The activity did not, even with Craig and I kind of stepping in to try to pull it together, we would not recommend this product, at least for really little ones. The texture was off. It didn't work very well. So later in the week, we are going to be making our own slime at home, and I'll give you the recipe as well, and that will have much better results because we've made some of those other slime recipes before. So yeah, just a little learn from me kind of tip. Okay, so for math today, kind of still on the topic of going back to sort of the books, the colors of the rainbow. For math today, you're going to have, there's 2 ways you can do it. Either if your child is old enough, you can go introduce the colors of the rainbow to them. That's my best attempt at purple, the sort of a maroony color, but just pretend it's purple for my purposes. You are going to send your child on a hunt around the room, around the house, around the playroom, wherever you want, or you are going to collect this pile yourself, depending on the age and the ability of your child. And you're going to just put together a large stash of red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple items. And then you're going to have your child sort them. Now, if your child is a bit older like Maya, after she sorts all the items, she will then also classify them. So I'll get into what I mean by that in just a second. So once I've collected the items, it was actually Callie that noticed that all the IKEA stuff is perfect for sorting because it's all the rainbow colors. So if you have IKEA stuff, you could go get plates, bowls, whatever's clean, and you could use some of these to actually sort some of the objects. If you don't have any of that around, you could also use a muffin tin, and then you could put even an item just to start. So the child can recognize this is the red pile or whatever. And some of your items might not fit in there, so this may or may not work for you. This is green or whatever. So that is one way you can do it as well. But we have a fair amount of the IKEA plastic stuff, so my girls will probably use that. And then what they're gonna do, once they've got all the items, so I went around the kids' toys, I went around into the craft bin, I got some popsicle sticks, I just got some random toys, markers, crayons, just a whole assortment of things, which... again, who will put them away? But I got a whole assortment of things. And so what the girls are just going to do is sort them. So for example, you can put all the blue stuff in here and you can just see, and then we can put them in order of the rainbow. And you can even put them on the ground and sort of, if you have enough items, and you can kind of make a rainbow with them. Maya then, as I said earlier, will have the ability to classify them. So by that I mean Maya can also look in here and say, oh, okay, like these are stationary. So stationary items, or these are drawing tools like markers and crayons, or she can just put the crayons together, the markers. I also have a bunch of toys in here. So Maya will then be able to organize them, and maybe that will be my in to help get them to put them away once they're all organized, but I'm not so sure about that. So anyways, that's a fun kind of sorting activity. Again, related to math, sorting and classifying is very important. As you're going to see this week, we're going to do a little bit of graphing, which is a lot of fun to do with kids. And this skill will also help with that. If you want an extension, you can even do some of that today. So once you have the children per pile, you could have them line up the items, or you could have them just count the items and then see how many of each colored item they have per pile. And then you could kind of rank them and talk about, that will lead into what we're going to do later in this week, but just graphing and looking at the information you have, and 6 purple and 4 yellow and 3, so they could just rank them. The most amount of colored items to see like the least amount. All right, so as our additional sort of fun little thing today, we did make the slime, which, as I said, I don't recommend. But another thing that I had actually intended to talk about last week, but I didn't, was my love, or our love as a family, for games. Now, one might think that young children can't play games, but there are so many games that even Callie, even as young as 2.5, was able to do, because obviously they're just games that don't rely on text, don't rely on certain skills. So for example, there's not going to be text in the game, or there's also not going to be a lot of counting in the game, but she's really good at other sort of, she has a lot of other sort of good skills, such as recognizing things or matching things. So we just sort of play to those. So I'm going to just introduce you to some of the games that we love in our family, and they're great learning tools, great family fun. So the first one is just a game of Go Fish. So I mean, you can easily make these with index cards as well, but we just happen to have a package of them. So you can see that on all of the cards, obviously they're not in order or organized very well right now, but on all the cards there is a little, and let's see how quickly, wouldn't that be lovely if I could do it really quickly? Oh, perfect. Narwhal whale. So you can see that there's a small one and a big one, so they can see the uppercase and the lowercase letters, or the baby and the mama, as Callie likes to call it. So then they're just pairing together. So you're just playing Go Fish. And it's a fun game, great way for kids to learn turn taking and sportsmanship. We do have a lot of cheating going on in our house. Sometimes we allow it, sometimes we call them, but children like to win. We all like to win. So anyways, but it's fun, a lot of fun. So I'll continue to introduce you to some more games, and maybe that'll interest some of you guys. So anyways, I think that's it for today. Really look forward to this week and some of the other stuff we have planned. Today is just sort of like introduction and learning about the colors of the rainbow, but then I promise you we do get into doing a lot of fun stuff. So have a great day, everyone. Thinking about you, and hope you enjoy doing the activities. We'll talk to you later. Bye.